My name is Helima Stevenson. I embraced Islam 5.5 years ago. I was brought up in South London. I come from a just under middle class background. My mum has always worked with the government, i.e. being a nurse reception. And my dad is a painter decorator, stroke builder. My family was never ever religious. We started going to church for Christmas and New Year's, but I think it was just to stop us from opening the presents so early in the morning. The school I was going was a Christian school, so even to get into that school, I had to be baptised. So my mum forced me to go to Holy Communion, and I had to have the whole white dress and stuff, even though she didn't even believe in it in herself. But she thought that this was the best school, so it upped my chances of getting into the school. So I was forced to do that. And when I went there, there was obviously no Muslims there. Very few black people were there. You know, I think that they've got a lot more black people there now, but definitely not any Muslims. My mum was a hardworking mother. We didn't live with my dad, and my mum normally held down at least 2 or 3 jobs. My mum was kind of like the father as well, because she is a bouncer. So one of her jobs was a bouncer. So any problems I had at school, I could always call on her to come and help me out of it. I have a brother and I have a sister. That's from my mother. And we all lived in a house together and had normal arguments like everyday children do. My brother and myself, we went through our rocky stages, and my brother ended up going to jail. And myself and my mum, one day we went to jail and we saw him, and we're looking for him in this big room, and we see him right at the end. And he had, at the time, I didn't know what it was called, but he had like a kufi on. So we've gone up to him and I've just started laughing my head off, and I'm like, what are you doing? You behaving like a freak. What's wrong with you? You look like an idiot. And he took it really offensive, and he said, oh, if you're going to take the mick out of my religion, then I'm going to get the governor to come and take me back to my cell. And I couldn't believe it, because I thought, you'd rather go back to your cell than sit out here and have a Snicker bar and chill with me. And he was really serious. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to ask him, you know, what's going on? So he said that he'd embraced Islam. And I was just like, well, why? And he said to me, you know, he's been reading a lot, and he's been speaking to an imam that comes to the mosque. And he said that he believes this is the way. And he started telling me about, you know, all these little things that had happened, how he was trying to pray the morning prayer, which is Fajr, and he didn't have an alarm clock, and how a little bird would come and sit outside his ledge and would tweet, 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 tweet. And it would tweet so loud that it would wake him up and he would pray. So I wasn't interested. I was just like, oh, whatever, that's just a coincidence. Oh, stop it, you're being silly. But he kept going on, and he said, oh, you know, I really want you to, you know, research it and stuff like that. So we went away, and I said to my mum, oh, that's just a phase. He'll be back to normal tomorrow. And in my heart, I actually felt like, you know, my brother's changing, even though he was changing for the better, because he was much more polite and he was much more nicer. But I still felt like he's changing, and I don't know, you know, what's happening. He's not the same person anymore. Anyway, I went back and I visited him again, and he said to me, oh, okay, I've been trying on 2 different occasions to get this tape out to you, and I finally got it out to you. He said, every time I've tried to bring it out to you, I kept getting caught by the governors. So I didn't even ask him how he managed to get this tape out. So he gave it to me under the table, and I took this tape, and he was like, just make sure you listen to it, make sure you listen to it. So I was like, okay, whatever. So one day when I was driving downtown, and I was listening to Choice FM, and it was boring. I was stuck in traffic, and I looked down and I saw the tape, and I said, oh, you know what? He went to so much trouble to get this tape out to me. Let me at least give him the courtesy of just listening to it. So I chucked it in the cassette player. I started listening to it, but it wasn't really going in my head. It was going through one ear and out the other. Anyway, what had happened is the cassette player, it got stuck in my cassette player. The tape got stuck in my cassette player. And I started listening. I tried to reject it. It wouldn't come out. I even tried to turn the volume down and the volume got stuck. So I had no choice but to listen to this tape, and it kept flipping over A, B, A, B. And I started to listen to it, but feel it. And the tape was called Purpose of Life by Khalid Yasin. Now I'm aware of it. Before I never knew who he was or anything like that. And he was like talking about life and certain things I was going through, and he was saying like, don't be scared, and you believe, and he was like explaining it. And that's when I started to take interest, and I thought, okay. So then after that, I started to, come across different people, and I had a friend, and he took me to Regent's Park Mosque, and he said to me, okay, go to the bookshop. So he told the bookshop man, okay, this girl, she's going to take her Shahada. So he said, right, I'm going to go and pray. You just stay here. So the bookshop man, he got me a sister that wasn't praying at the time. And the sister was outside talking to me. So I had a few questions. I can't even remember what they are now, but I had a few questions, and I said to her, can you explain a bit more about the religion? And she explained it. And there was one thing I asked her, which I can't remember, but she didn't know the answer, and she went to the bookshop man and she asked him, and then she came back and she told it to me and she explained it to me. And I thought that was really nice, that even though she didn't know the answer, she took effort to go and find out the answer for me, where previous to that, in Christianity, I had asked a question and, they was just like, well, it's like that because it is. And it was just cut dead. I wasn't explained anything. And I think that made a huge difference, that she'd actually gone out of her way to answer my question. So she'd come back, and my friend had come out of the mosque, and he said, are you Muslim now? Are you Muslim? And I was just like, well, no, I'm not. I'm still taking my time. And then one day, I think a few weeks after that, or maybe a month, I like traveling, so I was on my way to Ghana, and it was about 3 hours before I was going to board. And I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, if I get on this plane and I die, or it crashes or something, I'm going to die an unbeliever. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, but I actually believe, but I haven't taken my Shahada. And I was just, well, what's stopping me? What's stopping me? So I got so scared that, I called someone. I was just like, I'm ready. Like, I need to take my Shahada now, because if I get on that plane, it crashes. And, I do believe. So 3 hours before I was about to get on my plane, I called my friend, the one that had taken me to the mosque. And I said, okay, I'm ready. I want to do it now. Quick. So he was just like, okay, hold on. Let me just go and get somebody to help you take your Shahada. So he called somebody else, and I had like 2 phones on loudspeak. And, the brother explained to me what I was saying, that I believe in one God, and that the Prophet ﷺ is the last messenger. And I was like, yes, I agree. And then I said, la ilaha illallah. And then he said, oh, welcome to the deen, mashallah. So about 3 hours before I boarded my plane to Ghana, I took my Shahada, and the rest is history. After I left school, I went to college, and then I went to Roehampton University. I studied counselling. It was a year-on, year-off course, so I did it mainly from home. It was basically, going into the minds of people and understanding, some of the depressions that they go through and some of the problems, and being able to assess them and go through one thing after the other that might have happened in their family life. Okay. I started doing the counselling course because I always wanted to help people, and I always wanted to see if I could solve their problems for a very young age. And it was also a stepping stone to get into the child system within like the local government. So I wanted to be like a social worker as well, and that was one of the steps that you needed to have under your belt to get into social worker. Since my conversion to Islam, some things have changed, but at the same time, I'm still the person I was. So I'm still a a charity person. I still like helping people, and I just want to make a difference. So if somebody else can benefit from something tragic or something bad that's happened in my own life, then I want to talk about it so that they can address me, they can connect with me so that I can help them make different decisions. The main reason and thing that drew me to Islam was the fact that I never believed that Jesus was the Son of God. And, so when I researched more and, got a bigger understanding of Islam, everything just made sense. Everything that I read, it was just so self-explanatory, and there was just no questions for it. I didn't have anything that was kind of like holding me back. I do think that I did struggle a bit with the hijab, and I didn't actually understand that. And I vowed from the beginning that I will never wear that thing on my head, and look at me now, so I never used to drink anyway. I used to go out, but I was always the driver. So it didn't I didn't have to change that much, apart from, learning how to pray, and learning all of the other aspects of Islam. So I was kind of fortunate. When I told my mum that I was Muslim, she wasn't really surprised. So she was very supportive, and, she would come to the market with me and help me buy hijabs and tell me what colours suited me, and, tell me, don't wear black all the time. You don't have to always wear black, wear a different colour. But black was just easier for me. So, she was cool. And, I think she even saw the benefits as well, because when we would go and wash my car together, she would see how, the Muslims would flock around you and how nice they were. And, now, alhamdulillah, my mum is Muslim. She took her Shahada last year, Ramadan. And so now I have my brother, my little sister, who's 19, and my mother. We're all Muslims, so we now get to experience, the Eid Salah together and having Eid. So Christmas has totally gone out of the window, and it's nice to have that support and know that it doesn't really, Christmas time doesn't really affect my family because we're all Muslim. Myself and my daughter, we travel from Kent to London every day. I changed her school. She was actually going to a school in Kent, but I found that it was too stressful for her, as she was going through a lot of bullying. Not only was she black, but she was also a Muslim wearing a hijab. Because she's 9, she's coming to that age, and she decided that she wanted to start wearing the hijab. So she was going through a lot of trouble there. I approached the school and I'd started speaking to the school about some of the issues that she was having. And I just think that they just didn't understand. And I think that they couldn't stop the children from bullying. It was herself and another Muslim girl that was there that I know of. And it was really terrible. And, I saw red every time she come home. I saw red, and I think that it was bringing out a different side in me that I didn't want everybody else to see, or, to have an impression of me as a Muslim like that. So I didn't want to be argumentative, which I can be, and I didn't want to be that. So I moved her to a school in London. If I wanted to describe Islam to anybody, I would have to, just start with how it changed my life, and, how, certain things that have happened in my life at the time, it has seemed extremely bad and really upsetting. But in the long run, it has all panned out, and, Allah is the best planner of all, and it's worked out for the best for me. So I would just explain to them, certain things that have happened in my own life, okay, and then just expand on that, really.